The segment is sponsored by Prime Capital Investment Advisors. They're inspiring people to achieve their life's ambitions. Jason Noble joining us now from Prime Capital Investment Advisors. Good to have you back on the show.
It's great seeing you.
Yes, sir. Missed you the last couple of weeks, but you guys are growing extremely fast right here in the Charleston area.
Yes, we are. We're helping a lot of families, and it's absolutely wonderful. My team that we all work together as a team to serve the community.
Tell us some of the top reasons why your clients seek your services.
Yeah, to be very candid, 70% of the advisors that are out there do stuff that we do as well.
Yeah.
But the 30% that makes us different is, and the reason why people typically reach out to us is one of these three reasons. Because being a retirement tax and income specialist, they reach out because with all the government printing of money, they're really worried of higher taxes, whether it be income taxes, capital gains, estate taxes, and they're looking for us to be involved in their approach to see what they could do to offset that risk. The second reason why people reach out to us and what we specialize in is they've been funneling money, saving money all these years into their retirement account, but they haven't put a plan into place about how they're going to turn those assets into income streams, offsetting inflation and taxes throughout retirement. And I have to say the third reason that a lot of people reach out to us is they feel like they've been betrayed by the market.
Yeah.
They've been saving their whole life and they do not want to see their hard-earned money fall significantly right before or in early stages of retirement. So they're reaching out to us to talk about how we can help with downside protection and navigate this environment that we're in right now.
And over the last couple of years, it could have fallen 20 to 25% or more, depending on how aggressive you were.
Especially when they retired. If you retired in March of 2020, that market dropped 20, right, in that 1 month.
And some of those people I've seen have actually gone back to work, working a little part-time, because of some of those decisions.
You know, it's interesting. Some people go back to work because they want to, others have to.
Right.
But we are seeing more and more do what I call just life 2.0. Retirement isn't like it used to be.
Yeah.
They're going into something they have a passion for, and that's something we encourage in our approach.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with the financial world right now, as we know. How do recent federal interest rate decisions affect financial planning now and in the future?
That's okay. Let me break this down rather quickly. So we're going to see mortgage interest rates and being impacted by that. I saw a credit card statement from one of my clients at 32%. So we're seeing interest rates, and money's more expensive with loans. So we're seeing that. So we're really focusing on personal economies. What I mean by that is money in, money out, and what are we doing with the difference? Are we tackling debt, building up emergency savings and cash reserves? And if we go into a recession, what line of work are you in? That could determine how much we have in emergency savings. And so that's why we're doing with our portfolio payday services that we offer.
Yeah. Can you walk us through the importance of estate planning and your unique approach that you have on this?
Well, okay. Well, with estate planning, just call me old-fashioned. I do not want the state of South Carolina telling my clients where their money should go if they're no longer with us.
That's not old-fashioned. That's today,
That's
man.
today.
That's today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got to at least have a will, a durable power of attorney, and a medical directive. Now, there's another part of this, which would be a trust-based plan as well. But that'll be something that is a little bit more sophisticated. But it is something that could come into play. I'll give you a quick example of a trust-based plan where I'm working with this wonderful couple, but their child has an addiction.
Okay.
And if they just got that money would be gone.
Sure.
So we put in a trust with a spendthrift provision to protect the child from their own addiction.
Right.
If they were no longer with us.
So they'd be getting it like on a monthly basis or quarterly basis or yearly basis, they would get a sum?
It would be some, and they set it up on a quarterly basis, but and what we did is small increments.
Nice.
And being involved in doing this the right way. And I gotta say, things change. So those that moved into the Lowcountry, right? Different states have different laws and regulations. So you asked about the unique approach. We look at, on a scale between 1 through 10, what does your estate plan look like? And let's say you have a 10, which is great. That's the number one score. Then we start talking about what is that wealth transfer conversation you're having with the family, because that's also important as well.
Yeah. Folks that have a question, want to chat with you, we want to chat with your group as well about their financial future, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, we have a wonderful website, pciacharleston.com. That's where you could go learn about our culture, culture is so important to us. Learn about our culture, our approach. You could click right there and you could schedule a conversation, or you could call our office directly, 843-743-2926.
Jason Noble, always a pleasure, sir. Come back and see us real soon. Thank you so much. We're back with more Lowcountry Live in just a moment. Stay with us.